Okay, it's the same principles: cold, light, dry, fragile, brittle, unpredictable. If you are a wind body, you are a person who is probably shorter or taller than most people. You tend to be very thin and have a hard time gaining weight. If you hug a windy person, you can generally feel their bone structure under the hug because they don't have a lot of meat on their body. The wind does go out of balance and does gain weight, but it's because of lack of routine. So they have a very unpredictable digestion in that they just forget to eat, honestly. The wind is the person at 3 in the afternoon who suddenly pauses and thinks, did I eat today? I think I ate. No, maybe I didn't eat. And they honestly, they can't remember. And then they decide they must be hungry and they start snacking. And windy types love dry, salty foods, so they generally will go for the snack foods like popcorn and Triscuits, and that, again, starts to dry them out even further. And then they get home from work and they're not really hungry, and they probably haven't planned dinner, and so they continue to snack all night. And that's how windy types really do gain weight. They tend to be colder people, cold hands and feet. They tend to be the person in summertime who might still have a sweater on. They don't like cold things, so if you're a person who doesn't like iced beverages, if you don't like ice cream, if you have real sensitive teeth, that tends to be someone who's more windy. And their digestion's all over the place. So a windy person can be completely regular in the bathroom, or they can have constipation, or they can have diarrhea, and there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it. So that's the more windy type. Anybody? Dry hands, dry skin, dry nails. I forgot that one. Anyone feeling that? Yes? In your body? Okay, cool. So the next one is the fire. And I love this thought of this intense candle gaze because you know how you're just drawn to a candle and you can kind of get lost in the flame and it just automatically captures your attention. That's very much what that fire type person is like. So when you think of a fire type person, think that hot, bright, spicy, intense, they flare up quickly, powerful force and energy moving into a room. So a person who has a lot of fire in their mind, they actually do tend to be right. Okay? I know if you're living with one of these people and they think they're right all the time, most of the time fire people are right. They have incredible ability to discern. So if you really, really want advice, don't go to the windy person because she's not going to listen to you. Go to the fire person because they're going to take all the information in, they're going to pick through it probably pretty quickly, and they're going to give you a solution that is going to work. So actually do take the advice. These are really smart people. They tend to be of high intelligence. They tend to be very charismatic, very charming. When they walk into a room, it's just like that candle. You're drawn to it. You tend to look at these people, you tend to notice these people, they move with precision and with force. They tend to be our leaders in society. They tend to be the courageous people too. So when you look at the firemen and the policemen, those are probably a lot of fire types. Very good humanitarians, very warm, very bright, very perceptive. And they love to lead. They need to leave. So if you are a fire type, you really do need a job where you're in charge. You're not going to be happy working for somebody else. Now, they can be a little abrupt. So if you are a fire type, you might be the kind of person who will quickly lose your temper. You might be the kind of person who can be a little critical and a little judgmental. But these are all okay attributes. So if you were only the good aspect of anything and not what we would call the less favorable aspect, you would be a very boring person. So just know who you are. If you are the fire type, you are probably prone to losing your temper a little bit more than the other mind types. And that's natural for you. It doesn't mean you should lose your temper. It just means be aware. Awareness is 90% of the battle. In your body, if you're the fire type, you tend to have a warmer body. So you tend to be hot all the time. You know, my son, wintertime, running around with his shorts and a t-shirt on, that's a fire body. They're just warm. They don't want the covers at night. The house is always too hot. They tend to perspire really easily. They tend to have a medium build, and it tends to be more asymmetric. And the fire types tend to be a little vain. So they, although they can gain weight and lose weight easily, they tend to keep themselves fit. They tend to keep themselves in shape. They tend to take care of themselves. Fire types do go out of balance and gain weight, and it's through overindulgence. And it's because that fire digestion is very strong. Of all the body types, the fire type can eat almost anything, truly. And they know they can eat almost anything, so they don't have to watch themselves too much. And through overindulgence, they'll end up putting on a little weight. Fire type tends to suffer from things that are like heartburn, indigestion, acid reflux. Any of the burning sensations in your body tends to be that fire. And if you're a fire type, it's just natural for you. It's just something you have to manage. Fire types tend to be prone to acne and rashes and skin outbreaks too. And even imbalance, that's just something that fire types really have to learn to manage. So are we all still the fires? Who thinks we're the fires? Yes.
You're talking about in terms of body? Or?
In terms of mind or body. Was it clearer, I guess?
Yeah, I'm even on those.
Okay. Well, and you know, it's cute because too, when I teach this, and even for me, you want to gravitate towards like the better element. And like, I want to be the fire because I want to eat anything, and I want to easily gain weight and lose weight, and yeah, that sounds like me, and I want to be highly intellectual and have incredible discernment. So I find people gravitate one or the other, and slowly you accept who you are. And that's a great segue actually for the earth, because the earth, not the mind type, but the earth body type is probably the most challenging body type to be born with. So when you think of that earth, think heavy, dense, cool, stable, hard to get moving, very predictable, very routine. So that earthy body tends to be a bigger person. So you're just a bigger person. You were probably bigger as a child, and you're bigger as an adult. You have bigger muscles. You have bigger bone structures. You are a person who, and I have a girlfriend like this. She cracks me up. If she sees cookies, she says, if I walk by that tray of cookies, I'm wearing it home on my, which cracks me up. And it's true. She can hardly put a thing in her mouth, and she gains weight. She really, really has to watch it. Now, the thing to keep in mind, and if you are the earth body, you're sitting there going, well, I don't want to be that, because that is really hard. But you need to think about our society and our culture. So Marilyn Monroe was an earth body type. And she was one of a sexy icon of our society, and still is to this day. So start to resonate more with, wow, Marilyn Monroe, she's pretty hot, and she was an earth type. Then the other thing is, if I had you guys sit here with pen and paper, and write down the top 10 supermodels of all time, you probably could name them all. And they all only have one name, right? The first name. So it's easy. But I want you to think about it. There are 6 billion people walking this planet. 3 billion are women. And let's be generous and say 2 billion are adults. You know, there's 10 supermodels that we all know by name. 10. And I promise you, they look like that, and they don't need airbrushed. You know, that was their beautiful life's purpose, to be here and be a supermodel. It's not ours. We are not going to run around looking like catalogs, and it's ridiculous to think we are. So some of this course is about body acceptance. So I'll say that's enough I've said about that. I'll just say that. So the other thing you want to know about the earth body type is you can usually tell the earth type because they have gorgeous skin. It's smooth, it's creamy, it's poreless. They tend to have curly hair, they have thick hair. It tends to be blonde for some reason. Beautiful, big eyes. They are very much more slow movers, very graceful. You know, but when you get that body going, it'll go. So a lot of times the earth body type doesn't want to go to an exercise program or do something, but once they start, they get really committed to it and really, really get into it, and will stay with it. Now, in your mind, if you have a lot of earth in your mind, you have very good powers of concentration. So the earth person is the person who will take a book and spend, you know, 3 or 4 months reading it, and at the end of it, they can quote you passages and tell you page numbers and probably tell you what the author was wearing when he wrote the book. They'll learn absolutely everything about it. They retain information. So in your family, the earth person is the person who knows all the family stories. So I swear to God, my son can tell stories from when he was 2 years old. I don't remember these stories. He remembers stuff from when he was 2 years old, down to the color sweater somebody was wearing. That's how good their retention is. They tend to be very kind, compassionate, caring, nurturing people. They have a lot of love in their brain. So when you're really feeling the blues, who do you go to? You go to your earth friend and put your head on their shoulder, and they comfort you, and they take care of you, and they nurture you. So they are the caregivers of the world. They like routine. They like predictability. They like to go to work from 9 to 5. They want to work for the same company their whole life. That company becomes part of their family. So if you are the earth type, and you start your own business, you're probably going to suffer a little bit because you want to be around people. You want to take care of other people, and you like the routine of it.